Okay, I'm back.
Cycle, alchemy. We back. Those
Happy New
two
Year.
brothers that be talking that smack.
Talking
We back.
that
The two brothers that be talking that smack.
talking that God smack. Talking that God smack. Yeah, we're back for the first time in 2023.
Fuck all that. Ain't no New Year. The New Year starting spring.
Well,
You
well,
talking about
base.
the fiscal new? That was the fiscal New Year. Yeah, I give it that. It was the fiscal New Year, but
Yeah,
it was not the New Year. The New Year starts in spring equinox.
spring equinox. Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Well, this is when they. Well, I guess some at some point in history we're going to have to bring the calendars or do something with the calendar, get off the Gregorian calendar because right now we're on the Gregorian calendar, which kind of
Well,
screws up everything.
the thing about the Gregorian calendar, though, is it's some uh, true science behind it too. You know what I'm saying? It just throws us off of another energy or another frequency that we was on prior to the Gregorian calendar come around. But it's based on the same science. They're using
Hmm.
the same geometry. They're using the same trigonometry. They're using the same science, but they
Hmm.
just altered it to fit their political interests. It's all about their political interests.
Okay, so it's about
It's
trigonometry
our
and
science.
trigonometry.
Right. It's always they always like the thing about people we give the Europeans, the modern Europeans, that's it's a whole science behind this. They're modern Europeans. The original European were Moors too, were dark skinned people.
Hmm.
Go study Shadow Man. But
Well,
the thing is we give them too much credit for the development of language, the development of science, the development of this and no. They were in the dark ages till the Moors came in there and created a renaissance in Europe.
well,
Teaching them
yeah,
how
I
to
know.
bathe themselves. We was
Hmm.
teaching them how to bathe themselves. We was teaching it's all type of sciences that came into Europe when the Moors came in.
Yeah, I know from the 700 ADs to the 1490s.
Before then, these people were backwards, man.
Yeah, they really didn't matter other than they bite you, you might catch something.
I mean, the Black Plague damn near killed half of them.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
but
saying?
uh-huh. But then
So,
in the grand scheme of thing, even they are still part of the absolute.
what's the point? What's that? What do you say that for?
I mean, in the grand scheme, well, that means because they represent a certain part in evolution that occurs to, you know, to get us certain things into action that has to take place for us to go to the next level. They're part of the evolutionary process.
Oh, no doubt. Everything is relevant.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
And the
everything.
thing about it is that's what we do on this show. We take all things into consideration, not just this delusional candy Disneyland idea of the world. No. You know what I'm
Mm-mm.
saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because we got to balance the scale. We got to bring Ma'at back. That's justice. That's justice coming back to the planet. When Ma'at balances the scales,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Oh, well, that's gonna that's gonna happen anyway because no matter what, consciousness always continues on. Souls, even if we destroy ourselves on this planet, our souls will still incarnate somewhere else.
Oh, there's no end. There's no beginning and there is no end, brother. This is clear.
Yep.
And
Mm-hmm.
the
Yeah.
thing
It's
about
just
it is, people just need to accept that and realize that we've been given an idea, our characteristics of our existence that's far from what it is. We're immortals.
well, yeah. Well, it's just people don't understand the seven dimensions of the cosmos and human consciousness. There's everything is broken down into seven dimensions because it all begins with three elements. And when you and from these three elements, you're always going to get seven dimensions. And the three elements is spirit, which is consciousness, energy, and matter. And that triangle right there is the beginning of the entire cosmos and the seed of everything. You there?
Right. I was letting you speak, so
Oh, oh, okay.
I thought
All
you
right.
weren't finished.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, yeah. So that's and it's man, it goes on for more from there. I mean, you know, get into the three logos, you know, but we can get into that later. First, let's get on with the mantra.
Oh yeah, you got to do the mantra.
Yeah, we yeah,
Yeah, I
shit's
definitely want to know about the logos because I've
yeah.
heard. I know I have some insight about that too.
Okay, all right. Well, let's get on with the new mantra. I wrote a new mantra called the New Epoch of the Gods. Okay. Through the power, force, might, and will of the great nothingness of infinite beingness, of infinite, endless, limitless, invisible light from which comes the absolute all that was, all that is, and all that is being and becoming realized into physical realization, actualization, and form as we are now willing commanded to be. Is now being and becoming an active force of higher consciousness and an active force of infinite intelligence within us all now. Being and becoming the great primordial dragon, God, Son, Kundalini flame, now whirling and ascending up our spines from our root chakras to our central heart chakras and on up to our royal crown chakras, igniting our royal crown chakras, illuminating our first eyes, our Lord Amunel Dragra, our hidden priestly grandmaster, Magi, Dragon, God, Son, Kings, and Queens, igniting all of the 72 chakras in our first eye, our 72 primordial dragon, God, Son, Kings, and Queens, and all of our legions of 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 armies 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 of armies. Now, willing all of the forces, all the elements, all the essences, dark matter and dark energy within the absolute all into being and becoming all of our will servants, serving all of our wills, objectives, intentions, and desires, crystallizing them all into physical realization, actualization, and form. Now, being and becoming an active force and an active source of higher supernal light and energy that we're all using now to unlock and activating all of our junk DNA, returning it all back online within us all through the black dot within our first eye, universe B. Now, increasing the vibratory rate of our entire beingness up higher and higher and higher, changing every atom and subatomic particle of matter within our entire beingness, changing it back into a new primordial chaos out of order being of higher manas, the master manifester of all reality and beingness, manifesting into our reality and beingness a new and greater mind connected to Atma, the Most High, while pulling in unlimited supernal energy and light from right out of Atma and beyond into our higher and lower manas on down to our physical reality manifesting it here as all of the substance that we need now to take total control of our reality in this matrix through the knowledge of our true higher and lower inner selves as we began to learn how to magnetically reattach all of our junk DNA back together again empowered by the supernal light and supernal energy of Atma, controlled through higher and lower manas, to begin phasing in universe B, the world to come, while phasing out universe A, the world, the world dying out now. By raising our vibratory rate up so high until it began to awaken and igniting all of the divine sparks within this matrix one by one, all going supermental consciousness together, bypassing all of our humanity, completely destroying the illusionary matrix at once, being becoming pure supernal energy vibrating higher and higher and higher, being and becoming more massive than the sun until we suck the entire sun and solar system into our supernal darkness and supernal light, collapsing this entire space-time continuum into our supernal energy as it continues vibrating so fast until it implodes and explode, forming universe be the world to come, on a new earth expressed in its grandest grace and beauty, in a universe now built on the foundation and fabric of divine love, peace, justice, harmony, and balance, as all of the souls come together to celebrate the great feast and grand festival of the new epoch of the gods. Through the power, force, and might and will of the great nothingness of the almighty powers of the great nothingness of almighty flow, the great nothingness of infinite beingness, of infinite, endless, limitless, invisible light, from which comes the absolute all that was, all that is, and all that is being and becoming realized into physical realization, actualization, and form as we all now will and commanded to be. Abracadabra, ashe.
Presto chango.
Yes.
Will we do this magic? Will we do this magic?
Yes. We do this magic, man. Okay.
Listen,
All right.
people better realize the power they got. Better realize them. You got power. You
Yes,
got
we do.
you got a hella power.
Yeah,
And I
it's
do
just that.
mean hella power.
Yes, and by understanding the science behind it, you can become a mechanism to of implementing this energy, implementing this power. I mean, we're
Well
all doing it
also
every day.
you don't look at yourself in an inferior position in your existence. Like most people can't even conceive of themselves being beyond the inferior indoctrinated characterizations of their existence and life. And they bought into it, hook, line, and sinker. They bought into it, hook, line, and sinker. And
Well,
you gotta. I mean, to the general audience I'm speaking to, is like the world. If you listen to the world and society, they're gonna tell you that you're insignificant. You know what I'm saying? The world is
well,
telling you you're insignificant, and that's why you are fighting to find some significance in your materialism, your superficial approach, your shallow mindset, or not being critical thinkers. And at the end of the day, that's the world, and you
hmm
too much in the world. The world is the age of man. You know what I mean? That's
okay.
the etymology of it, the age of man, right?
hmm Well,
So
again, like I say, there are three substances in the universe that form seven dimensions, and these seven just keeps coming up everywhere. There's seven dimensions within us, seven bodies. Each seven bodies have chakras. We must learn first, we got to learn what these seven bodies are. And then once we learn what they are and the dimensions that they exist on, because there's these different energies all around us. These are these other bodies, these subtle bodies. I mean, we even have a subtle physical body, which is called the etheric body. And then from there, you have the emotional bodies and then the mental bodies. Now, each one of these realms, you have that three principles. You have consciousness, which is spirit, you have energy, and you have matter on the physical realm, on uh, the mental or emotional realm, and on the mental realm.
Okay, so
And
what are some of the things that you can do right now in mindset of that knowledge you just gave, and application wise, like application, what can people do?
okay, well, first of all, mental consciousness is your thoughts and ideas. Okay, and then you want to use the spirit, which energy, to form the right mental material. Okay, mental material is what becomes thought forms. Thought forms are real. Okay, each matter has, I mean, each dimension has matter. So on the mental realm, the final matter is thought forms, and on the emotional realm, you know, uh, the energy or consciousness in the emotional world is your feelings. Okay, and there's an energy behind that form emotional matter, which takes the form of, hate, anger, fear, love, or what, all good emotions are positive emotions. All right. So by understanding this, that we have a mental body, we have a lower mental body, and we have a higher mental body. The higher mental body is the seat of the soul. The lower mental bodies are the four lower bodies are your is what is called your personality. But the higher bodies, which is your mental body, your bliss body, and your and nirvanic body, uh, that is what is called the individual. And the individual is universal and eternal. The individual lives on forever. And what exists in the individual is called, I think, the super atom. The super atom never dies. It goes on with you from incarnation after the next incarnation. All of your essence and being is inside of this one atom. And no matter who you become in, or whatever you become in the next life, this atom goes with you. Or this atom
Talking about the
is you.
soul.
It's part of the soul. Okay, now before the soul, you have what is called the monad, which is unity, oneness. Okay, so when we exist in oneness, there is no polarity other than you have what is called within oneness, you can have two different poles. You can have two different polarities within oneness, but they're all neutral. In other words, you have the same amount of negative energy as you do positive energy, so it's a neutral. But when you pull those poles apart, you create this thing called energy. So, and this also exists in the aspect of space. Oh shit, this is gonna blow your mind, dude. Check this out. Let me read this to you. Let me find this. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, there is no empty space. Space itself is energy, and in itself is a substance. And not only that, but a living substance.
Right, it exists on higher overtones. This is where you get into octaves, and then you get into overtones of frequencies. You know what I'm saying? It exists beyond our actual perceptual frequency that we're on. The thing that's the most of the known reality of what we know as reality is, like it says, everything is in a motion state, a
Emotion is
vibration.
that's consciousness. Motion, okay. You have what is called absolute reality. Absolute reality is the highest principle. There's nothing beyond absolute reality. I mean, absolute reality is there whether the universe exists or not. In the Kabbalah, this is called Ein Sof, or this absolute has the potentiality for everything because there are two aspects and two of the absolute, and one aspect will give origin to consciousness, and the other aspect gives origin to matter or space. But space is really matter.
Right. It's a matter that's basically vibrating at another whole nother tone.
Well, actually, is this is now being discovered by science when they talk about what is called dark energy. The absolute is referred to as the eternal darkness, dark matter and dark energy. Dark matter and dark energy seems to be like a quality of space itself. And if you get a piece of space and you stretch it based on certain physics, you'll be generating energy from stretching space. So
Right.
imagine
But I'm
doing.
just saying, I'm agreeing with you, but I'm adding on to it and saying
Mhm.
it's a singularity that appears to be fragmented. It's a singularity that appears to be fragmented because they
Mhm.
they're saying this shit is abundant throughout the whole known universe and unknown universe.
Yeah,
Like,
it's space. Yeah, it's more space or what we consider nothing than anything else.
but what we're considering nothing is actually something, but
And it's alive.
it and we the thing about it is it's beyond our conceptualization and in our really in the human idea of it. It's
Yeah,
beyond that.
yeah.
Like you have to transcend and realize your multidimensional selves to even, because then you become you're finite. You can have finite thought, but because we have these access to our other sensory, our other um, cognizance, right? Beyond just sensory perception, we
Well,
have
we're
access
seven
to.
dimensions. We're seven dimensions. Okay, the four
Right,
lower
I'm
dimensions.
talking about the awareness, the like the ability to go beyond just perceptual. Like, well, that's what we're talking about in
Sensory.
the dark, in the divine darkness, beyond
Yeah,
consciousness type of,
yeah,
that's hard to conceive as a human. It's
yeah,
beyond human conception.
yeah.
You can't conceive of it beyond
Mm-mm.
consciousness. What do you mean?
Yeah, yeah. It's this is something that's very hard to wrap your mind, your human mind around. But the more you do wrap your mind around this, then the more you expand your consciousness. And
You literally become it. Because it was oh my god, was deep. It was in the Eternals, or no, it
mhm,
was Agents of Shield,
mhm,
because they talked about these Eternals that was left on planet. They left something in their DNA, something latent in their DNA, and it will show later on. And they will come into one of those super hay rules, basically. They basically learn the science of the properties of a certain principle in science, because he has the ability to become transparent and go through matter and
mhm,
everything. So
mhm.
she was able to do it because she learned the science of it.
Yeah, yeah. Once you learn the science of it, then this thing called the universal intelligence, which
You become
functions.
one with it. You
You
sync
become
yourself with it.
Yeah, because it functions through all of us.
Yeah,
It func-
thank you. Wow, dope. That's dope. You could so basically you can tune in to that frequency anytime you want to. You can tune in.
mhm. Yeah.
It's so subtle that it's so subtle that because you're colluded subconsciously, because this is more of a subconscious thing. It's not conscious, it's subconscious. And
Hmm.
we in realms that are beyond consciousness. So these things are so subtle that you have to calm yourself, and that's what meditation is so important. It's so subtle. It's not. It's like it don't exist. Not it don't exist energetically or vibrationally here. It exists vibrationally somewhere else inside of you. Or I can't even say somewhere else. I would say it vibrationally exists inside of you, in a portion of your multidimensional self that you have to be able to reach that part of yourself, because
Well, it's in the
none of these.
mental. It's in a. See, now you're on the mental plane. You're in the higher mental planes. You can't do this in the lower mental plane. The lower mental plane can help get you there to a certain point, but you're going to have to go beyond the lower mental plane into the causal realm. Um, and then once you get up there, then you go into the Buddhic realm, and in the Buddhic realm, that's where the that's where the seed of enlightenment comes from. That's the enlightened one, the Buddhic realm. And the Buddhic realm is only reflecting the light that's coming from Atma. But Atma is really sort of like a manifestation of something even greater than it, which is two other realms called Adi, capital A, capital D, capital I, or Anadi, A, capital Anidi. And then below that, well, Anadi is the one without beginning and one without end. And then under that is Anupadakata, which is the self-generated one, the parentless one, the ontogene. And then you get Atma, and then those three are the three logos. Now, the logos, which stands for intelligence, are the word. The first logos is the seed of what is going to be called consciousness. All right. And and then the second logos is where the idea of duality comes from. But however, the second logos is actually not a duality yet, but it's like a polarization of unity. For example, if you have an atom and the atom has a nucleus that is positively charged, and you have an electron around it that are negative, but the atom as a whole is neutral. It has the same amount of negative and positive charges. So it is a unit. It's a unity that's neutral. So when you have two poles there, and when you separate one from the other, you generate electricity, which is energy. When you separate the electrons from the nucleus, you produce electricity. But now this is how the third logos works. The third logos is related to what is called trinities and or triads or three elements. And this symbolizes the universe unfolding but still not yet manifested. It is with the third logos where matter and spirit separates and the whole cosmos is created. So what are the three elements of this third logos? Well, once you separate spirit from matter, then a third element appears, which is life or energy. So it's a triangle, SME at the bottom, spirit, matter, and energy. And are in they call it Fohat, but this is close to our idea of God in a sense, because from this principle comes everything. So the third logos is the center of consciousness, life, and matter that generates the whole universe. This trinity that we call the spirit is described as the universal mind, Mahat in Hindu. And the universal mind is the intelligence behind the entire universe that permeates everything. And the instinct in animals is the universal mind acting through animals. What we call our intelligence, human intelligence, is the universal mind acting through human beings. This universal mind is not a human mind. So, and matter is the raw material from which the whole universe will be produced. And this is the actual life or energy as the actual power behind the universe. So this is how the universe gets shit done.
Right. It's tapping
Yeah.
in too. Like the universe is alive, and it's
Mhm.
literally you seeing what you're seeing is you're seeing like everything is broken down into like a certain pattern, right? And in this pattern, you can literally see a life, something
Mhm.
living right there,
Mhm.
something living
Mhm.
in that pattern, because you can literally see how that pattern looks like it's something breathing or something exerting and contracting, exerting and contracting on itself. And that's what that reminds me of when you explain how these states of consciousness or these states of being are related to the self, the
Mhm.
multidimensional self, right? So it's like a living. These things that we're saying are actually living intelligence. They're more than just science. It's just we're speaking of, we're describing, we're characterizing living intelligence that are beyond human intelligence.
Yeah, but what I like is how when you move two poles, you create energy. I mean, and that's just out of just
Right.
space.
What you just said is the basis of free energy,
Yeah,
which they
exactly.
cannot never which they
Ever.
cannot ever basically expose, because that will, these are the freedoms that they don't want to tell us. The way we
Mm-mm.
free the planet is we free up the resources for it to be in the uses of justice means, not just exploitation. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? This is how you free up the energy, right? So right now we're in a subjugation of the energy. It's being
Mm.
damned, like we was talking about the other day. The flow is being damned. We're not having our connection with flow. Everything we mentioning is not only, it's like a triple entendre, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not only a principle of the universe, it's an actual being that's living, and also it's the flow of your energy and how you want to characterize your energy. How you, if you want an example,
We
look
are a
at these
miniaturized version of
elemental.
that. Yeah, we're
Look
a,
at these elemental.
oh yeah.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
look at them. Look at how they doing it. How they forming, and they're coming from the out, from the world, the unknown world, and manifesting itself into the known world and back into the unknown world and back into the manifested world, back and
Mm-hmm.
forth, back and forth. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? Or
Yeah.
the non-manifested world to the manifested world, non-manifested world and you feel me? It's like it's like a living being, bro. It's an actual living being.
Yeah, it is. It's conscious. Well, see, consciousness, people only look at consciousness on a human level, but consciousness, anything can be conscious. I mean, a fucking cell is conscious. I mean, a plant is conscious. It has consciousness. It knows how to protect,
Right,
move towards the light or try to
right,
adapt to its environment. That's consciousness.
right.
even a mineral has consciousness.
Right.
So there's no dead anything. What you consider as dead is still if it got space in it, it's alive because that space is living energy.
Right. 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 And
Yeah.
how do they explain like they're just discovering these creatures that literally live in lava? You
Damn.
know what I'm saying? It's unexplainable shit that we're now, because now the vibration is shifting.
Mm-hmm.
We're changing the channel right now, right? So I'm
Mm-hmm.
talking about collectively, we're changing the channel. So on this side of the, on this side of the barometer, it's a whole nother frequency we're going into, and we're going to see something. I mean, not we're going to see anything else. There was already things there that we
We'll be
are
able
not
to
tuned
experience.
into,
We'll
and
be able to
we're
experience.
gonna see them now. Like they was already there.
Yeah, we'll be able to experience these things because we're like developing. We're turning the organism that we do have that can help us um, experience that part of reality is coming online, and
Right.
plus the junk DNA coming.
Whoo! That's superpower shit, which
Yeah,
is already happening. Which is no. Let me explain what I mean by superpower shit. Y'all already got superpowers right now. Y'all just not using them. Y'all not cultivating them inside of yourself right now.
you
Y'all
have
got superpowers like a motherfucker right now. But
you.
we thinking something coming online and whatever. No, that shit was just dormant. That shit was
Yeah,
just dormant.
yeah, it's
And
already
how was
there.
it? Why was it dormant? That shit was dormant. Why? Because we were systematically put and disorientated from colonization, right?
Well, and
It
not
was
only that, but
disorientation. It was disorientation, bro. We would, because we was in tune with a whole nother frequency prior to this, bro.
no, this thing called degeneration. We degenerated. Okay, everything degenerated. It was just a natural process of nature and evolution, degeneration. We degenerated to this. But that's part of the evolution because through this degeneration, it begins the process of putrefaction. And what's the other one? Well, putrefaction but through the putrefaction, we that alchemical process produces
The
something new.
perfected stone,
Yeah,
or
the the
the perfected one, or something like that.
yeah
After purification, you get the perfected stone or something like that, right?
yeah, that's the philosopher's stone.
Yeah, the philosopher's stone.
Hmm. Okay, and so you see, because in our evolution was on a downward. It starts downward because we started from a spiritual form, and then from there we have to go to all seven levels into. Okay, remember when I said, okay, the first dimension is the dimension of spirit, energy, and matter. And then the next dimension becomes spirit, energy, and matter. Okay, spirit, energy, and matter. And then below that it becomes spirit, matter, energy. And then below that becomes energy, spirit, matter. And then energy, matter, spirit, and then matter, spirit, energy, until where we're at now. Matter, energy, and spirit. Spirit is the least dominant. Okay. So matter and energy is the more dominant. Spirit is pretty much is shut down. But that's but
Only on
now
this level.
but now we're going back up. And so
The
we're gonna
spirit.
go back. It's gonna flip and it's gonna be energy, spirit, matter, and then well, it's going to be matter, spirit, energy, and then it's going to become energy, matter, spirit, and then energy, spirit, matter. And then it goes into the spirit, matter, energy, and then spirit, energy, matter. But we can, but the individual can raise their vibratory rate and go up that ladder faster than, you know, than just the regular process that humanity go up the ladder naturally. And by doing that, you can become someone, um, okay, they say, okay, in our evolution, we go 7 rounds and then we go back to the 0 point. There are 7 spheres we go through, and then we go to the back into the 0 point, and then it happens again. It happens 7 times, and then the universe rests. In the same period that we went through those 7 rounds, that's how long the universe rests. But let's say during those 7 rounds, let's say right now we're on the fourth round. But let's say a person on the fourth round excel their evolutionary rate to the point to where they become as evolved as someone who would be on on the fourth round or on the fourth sphere like we are now, but we're on the fourth sphere on the fourth round. Let's say their evolution is someone who's on the fourth sphere in the seventh round. Okay, they're really a couple of 3 spheres ahead, because while they're on the same sphere with us, but they sped their evolution up threefold. They gone from the evolution of being of where we're at on the fourth sphere on the fourth round to being on the fourth sphere, like on the seventh round on the fourth sphere. Like they've been around 7 times. They've been, so instead of just only 4, they've been around 3 more times. 3 times more, while they're still on the fourth round, which means they're way advanced. Because the person who's like, when humanity get to the seventh sphere, when we dream, we won't be dreaming on the astral plane. We'll be dreaming on the mental plane, or we'll be dreaming higher on the higher mental planes. Because right now, when we dream at this stage of our evolution, most of our experience is on the lower subplanes. Very few of us are experiencing it on the mental planes, because we as a species, we haven't been here long enough to evolve to that level yet on this fourth round that we're on in our evolution. And that kind of makes sense. So based on that fact, that we can speed the individual, the universal self can speed the process up through the universal mind, and climb up the evolutionary ladder and become more and more, way more advanced than the average person or human right here, right now. And then begin manifesting from that level. Imagine what that soul with that level of evolvement can manifest into reality. Because it's all about It's all about trying to pull from the mental realm, the higher mental realm, which is madness, and manifest from there, and take control of the emotional realm by programming the type of emotions that we want to give shape to. Put because remember, there's matter in all realms. There is emotional matter, and it starts from emotional consciousness, and that's our feelings. What we're feeling, or what we choose to feel. So we can take control of that and form the type of emotional matter that we want, that can empower us to be, in control of our reality in this matrix as a chaos out of order being, which is what this is all about: chaos out of order. Because the title of this is from chaos to cosmos, and cosmos means order. So this is how we become chaos out of order beings. And so now it says, so the idea is that from the intelligence of the universal mind through the cosmic energy is how the divine plan that is in the universal mind is manifested into matter. And every time we think something, we produce a form or thought form, which can be seen by two, which could be seen by a clairvoyant, or a psychic. Now, the capacity to think, which is in our mind, would be like the reflection of the universal mind or spirit. So, our capacity to think is, um, which is in our minds, is like the reflection of the universal mind. So, we are a miniature aspect of the universal mind. And the universal mind is some potent shit.
Yeah, we are a macro. We are a macro of the micro, but the macro and the micro are one and the same.
Yeah, they're one and the same. So what we can have a major effect on this reality. Each micro um, universal
Right,
minds
just
can.
really, really just being an example, and you actually vibrating at a level that will manifest this condition. Like in there, there are concepts that people are not even familiar with in medical science called um, germ theory and territory theory, right? Germ
Hmm.
theory saying that abundance of germs, and we need to eliminate germs from the environment in order for germs, like basically germs, like the example of it is the bubble man, the bubble boy concept, right? If
Yeah.
you keep the bubble boy the bubble, what happened? Eventually he has a weakened, a more weakened immune system,
Yeah,
right?
that sounds
And this is
very
the
European. That sounds very
huh?
Eurocentric. That sounds very Eurocentric.
What?
That concept, it sounds very
Yeah, it is. It
Eurocentric.
is. It is Euro. It is Eurocentric, and my thing is the European. What you saying? When you say Eurocentric, that's an idea that's giving credibility to a group of people who are
Oh shit. Where did we stay now? Someone didn't like what the fuck we said, I guess. Or Porky Pig came out and said, "Believe me, believe me." Yeah, you back? Yeah, shit, Porky
Yeah,
Pig.
we was going in, so they had to kind of
Yeah, yeah,
throw
they
some
had triumph.
electric charges to the system, man. But what I was saying is when you said that's Eurocentric and it's in Eurocentric,
Hmm.
when you saying Eurocentric, you're giving credibility to a pale skinned people because Eurocentric is not necessarily attributed to these pale skinned people that we attribute. Like I said, the original Europeans were dark skinned people. The
Well,
science
yeah,
that you're giving
okay,
them the credibility to, we laid the foundation for them to even conceive science that they have in the Western world. So not to say that they took it and they didn't, because the thing about it is in the Western world, everything is always politically motivated and it's always motivated by scarcity because that's their psychology subconsciously and genetically subconsciously they come from scarcity, so that's their disposition and you see that in every aspect of how they operate and shit. So
hmm,
you see that in every aspect of how they operate on based on scarcity. We operate on an energy based on abundance because we already knew there was abundance everywhere. That was
yeah, but
our worldview.
they
That
reprogrammed
was
our
our
mind.
worldview all the time.
They reprogrammed us. You mean they hit us over
You
the head?
breaking up. You breaking up because I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's
Oh,
going on. We can't hear you right now.
okay. Well, remember they hit us over the head and reprogrammed our mind. And now that they reprogrammed our mind, they gave us their mind. And now that we have their mind, we're manifesting into reality the same thing that
But
they came from.
the cold thing about it is you're right, but at the same time, they're behind closed door practicing our science. They're behind closed doors practicing things that they tell us to shun. Right?
But yeah,
They're practicing it, and they like. I was in what you were referred to as the which you were not in it like that, but I was around some people that are a part of the what you call the in the so-called white people community.
the lodges, the
Huh?
Masonic lodges.
No, it's not Masonic Lodge. It's just these scientists, these people who are like in the conspiracy theory community,
Oh,
and they have these festivals every year, bro.
mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Where they go and converge and talk about these ideas. I think we should have these more, but I think they should be private. But
Yeah, they should definitely be
they should
private.
be
But
private. But these people
our
have these people have these conventions. They always doing this stuff, like trying to bring all the thoughts that are being conceived out here about these ideas and stuff.
oh, so they have an intelligentsia of they have an
And
intelligentsia.
intelligentsia, yes, and
Okay.
intelligentsia, the things of that nature. What I'm saying is they're talking about this constantly, and they always on this. But then in the public view, they're Christians. In the you
Oh.
know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying is just like what the Jews do, right? The Jews they switch and change faiths based on what's politically expedient. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? They switch
Mm-hmm.
and change. Like you can see what they did when they are the as a group all said, "Oh, it's politically in our interest for us to not take sides in this Christian Muslim debacle." You feel me? We're Jews.
But
that was
but
that was
but they don't matter. They're all three of them are Abrahamic religions. Okay.
no doubt. But I'm not. No, see, you're going off on something else. I'm talking about the
Oh,
political
okay. The
aspect of
political.
it, like
Oh, okay.
the
Yeah.
political expedience of why they do crafty things like this. All right, I'm
Mm-hmm.
looking at it like that. I'm like, okay, because the thing about it is people dismiss politics, right? As if they don't want to be involved in it. But you don't have to be involved in it to understand the science of it. It's called political science.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a
Political
science to
science.
this shit.
Yeah. Okay. I understand. Okay, that's a great way of putting it. Learning political science. Yes. Yeah. Right now, yeah, we're learning some of this occult science, but
No,
that's an occult too.
it's intertwined. It's intertwined, bro. You got, oh my
That's it.
God, you gotta wake up. If you don't
That's
see
an
the
occult science
intertwined
too.
cult of science that's going on in the political spectrum, boy, woo, you ain't getting it. They going in, telling you, showing you what order that they're operating under. They showing you orders and that they see. And the thing about it, what's an order? Y'all don't even question it. What the fuck is this? Y'all always talking about what they're doing in their lodges, right? With these
Hmm.
speculations and this all this, y'all don't even understand what they're really doing. They're damming the flow. They're damming the flow, okay? They trying to
Hmm.
shut down mother so that she can't feed her children.
Yeah, okay, but see, but now, like now that we're putting out this type of information, this you remember? Okay, over here it says that um, we form, our thinking form
This
thought forms. Our
brother,
thinking.
I don't want to cut you off, but these are your last. This is gonna be your last words because I'm gonna have to cut it short.
Okay,
Go
all
ahead.
right. They're the big bad wolf and everything, but they sucking off of our titty. All right, for the power. Okay, when it's all said and done, we run the show on the spirit on the concept. We the chaos out of order beings, and so we're gonna bring
Woo.
order. We're gonna bring order to this chaos, and we can do that with our dark matter mind.
Dope.
Okay, yeah. So all we have to do is align ourselves with this universal mind and do what and let the universal mind work through us as chaos out of order beings. And the universal mind will do what the universal mind does as a chaos out of order being.
And also, I'm gonna add that a lot of it has nothing to do with thinking. It's just instinctively. This shit is already going to happen, regardless if you make an effort towards it or nothing. It's already set in stone. Sorry, this shit's set in stone, homie. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, it's just going to be, it's just that there are some people that make things happen. There's people that watch things happen. And then there's poor souls that don't even know that anything happened at all. And each
You're
one
right.
of us.
I agree. I definitely agree with that. So that's what I'm saying. This shit gonna happen inevitably. It's just those who gonna make it happen, those who gonna sit back and watch those who make it happen, and those who don't even realize it's happening.
Yeah. At least the ones that's watching and seeing something happen.
Right.
Yeah, these other fools don't even know anything is happening at all. They're at home watching Monday Night Football.
Background automatons.
Yeah.
The
Hmm.
background automaton, and guess what? The background automaton, that is the zombie apocalypse, y'all. Y'all trying to
Yeah.
decipher the zombie apocalypse, man. It's
It's
happening all
here.
around you.
It's here already. The zombie apocalypse is already here.
Right.
Yeah. So you better arm yourself with the Kundalini fire and burn away the zombies with our thought forms. We can
For
kill with
real.
our thought forms. Okay.
Ooh, that's so true.
Yeah.
So true. That's why they
Yeah.
said be careful what you think. Be
Exactly. They
careful
said
what you
mind
think.
is a terrible thing to waste. Hell no. This and melanated mind can be a terrible thing to use.
And with that, we out of here, brother.
Yeah.
Peace out.
Mm-hmm.